extreme activities, particularly the elderly or those with pre-existing health conditions. If you must go outside, walk slowly, find shade, wear light-colored, loose clothing. To avoid sunburn, protect your skin with sunscreen, wide-brimmed hats, or sun parasols. For those working outside, take frequent breaks and drink water, even if you don't feel thirsty. If you're inside, block UV rays and keep the temperature between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius. Get to know the signs of heat stroke. If you see anyone showing heat stroke symptoms, immediately call 119 or 1339, the Emergency Medical Information Center. We can't beat the summer sun, but let's do all we can to stay healthy this summer. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고, 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
We've been talking about how hot it has been as of late. We know that the hot weather has taken a toll on people and even infrastructure. But what about animals? Well, the relentless, unyielding heat wave sweeping across the nation is causing unprecedented livestock death. The authorities confirmed a spike in farm animal deaths as temperatures, they have been breaking records. For perspective, over 160,000 livestock deaths were reported on Tuesday alone. That's in one day. And the vast majority of those deaths were poultry, 가금류. North Jeolla province has been hit the hardest, home to many poultry farms. That region has been seeing daily losses of around 20,000 chicken and ducks over the past 3 days. And that is the impact of this brutal heat wave. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, July 11th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're doing well. It's our favorite day of the week, at least most of us. It's Friday today, so yay. When I read about all those deaths of all the livestock, I know they are livestock, but still the fact that they're dying in this heat, it really did kind of make me think about the impact of hot weather plus, of course, larger picture climate change and what we can do. Well, I also want to take a look at a different issue this morning, the various efforts that are being made to breathe new life into Busan's economy via different government institutions and infrastructure. As we've been talking about for the past few weeks, the relocation of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries, that has been picking up speed, urged, of course, on by and supported by President Lee. But that is just one factor, one situation. What about the others that have been under discussion for some time? One major institution under discussion is the Maritime Court, the 해상도로. Democratic Party or DP's Chun Jae-soo and the People Power Party, PPP's Kwak Kyu-taek, have introduced a bill regarding a maritime court to the National Assembly. But DP lawmaker Park Chan-dae also introduced a bill to set up this court in his home city of Incheon. President Lee pledged to set up these maritime courts in both Busan and Incheon. But the position from the Busan Political and Civic Society is that our city needs this court quick to create synergy with the Oceans and Fisheries Ministry. Another major issue, one we've been talking about for like over 10 years at this point, the Gadokdo Airport. This project has been stalled after a major construction company basically kind of gave up on the contract. And while the land ministry has said that it will pursue the project expeditiously, it has yet to come up with specific measures. Again, synergy is important to maximize the effectiveness of these regional balanced development projects. And timing, so important if we want to seize on this opportunity and create, everybody talks about that word synergy. Well, timing is of the essence as well. So that's what we're talking about today. And now it's time for your text topic on this Friday morning. If you have ever learned a foreign language, which language did you learn? How did you go about doing it? When? So 나는 몇 살에 어떻게 영어 혹은 외국어 배우기 시작했다. We're talking about foreign languages. It can be English. It can be Korean, for non-native Korean speakers. It can be Chinese, Russian, German, whatever it is. Send in your responses to BEFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find our channel. And you can subscribe first and then log in to chat with our other waivers from your phone. Pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can reach me for free through Kakao Talk as well. You got to find us first. So type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find us and to add us as a friend, and then you can send in your messages and photos as well. The ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan, 90.5 or 103.3 FM on the radio if you're in Busan. Like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. And we have two apps that are free, the BFM app itself plus the Patbang app. You can check out our Wagga Wagga segment. Let's take a look at the lineup for today. Friday, once again, we have Casey coming in for Foreign Press Highlights. We have Professor Andrew Millard, 안 교수님 for Global Affairs. For our special interview, we're going to talk about something that I think affects all of us. How to cope with bad news. We are inundated, whether it be news or in our personal lives, about negativity and negative news. But we sometimes call it doom scrolling. We're like scrolling on our phone till like 2 a.m. about bad news. How does that affect our health? Let's find out in hour number 2. I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. Next year's minimum wage set at 10,321 per hour. The minimum wage for 2026 has been determined at 10,321 per hour, a 2.9% increase from this year. Special counsel summons ex-President Yoon for questioning. The special counsel led by Jo In-seok has summoned former President Yoon Suk-yeol today at 2 p.m. for his first questioning since he was put under detention. Special Counsel on Marine's death conducts first raid. The special counsel led by Lee Myung-hyun investigating the death of Marine Corporal Che conducted its first raid yesterday into the home of the former defense minister, the defense ministry, and the National Security Council office. President Lee Jae-myung orders for inspection of cooling centers. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday ordered for a prompt inspection of cooling centers nationwide during a meeting of senior aides, as well as unscheduled inspections of high-risk industrial sites. Trump threatens 50% tariff on Brazil. Lula hits back. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Brazil with a 50% tariff starting August 1st, alleging Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of a witch hunt against former President Jair Bolsonaro. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, it's Friday.
I know.
Yeah. All right, for our text topic for today, how did you learn a foreign language, whether it be English or any other language? Like, how old were you? What kind of methods did you use? So,
Yeah.
can you share?
I'll be talking about mostly English.
Okay.
I start learning English when I turned 20. I mean, I mostly study when we mostly study in our high school from younger age. But I study more seriously and ferociously English. And I'm mostly interested in like speaking skills, not just
speaking
grammar. So yeah, that's all the bit of motivation I had.
But I mean, I know like here in Korea, like technically nowadays, I think they start in third grade of elementary school where it's kind of like an official subject in school, right?
Yeah.
But where did you get all the useful tips, like the useful know-how of how to speak English?
I memorized a lot of things, videos, scripts, and
Oh, really?
yeah, articles. And like with one paper, I was supposed to read, and I was supposed to memorize all of the like context, and I present it to the audiences.
I see. Okay. Well, it's come in handy now.
Yeah, now
now that
it's
you're working
working,
here,
yeah.
right? So thank you for sharing. All right. I hear that we have some big government movement regarding something that I just spoke about, but can you let us know?
Yeah. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries has just confirmed that it has decided to lease 2 buildings in Donggu District, Busan, to speed up its relocation to the city within this year.
That's pretty major news. So where in Donggu are they setting up?
So 2 buildings are in Donggu District, IM Building and Hyoseong Tower, as their temporary offices. Both buildings are near Busanjin Station, and they're only about 130 meters apart.
Oh, so that is right near Busanjin Station. That's very central. I'm sure that's going to be good for people coming from other cities as well, too, right?
Right, it's near the North Port redevelopment area, so chances are the ministry's permanent building could be built there later on.
I see.
Being close to the local port authority and other marine offices is a big plus.
Yes, and I imagine this move could really change things for Donggu itself. What kind of made them pick this particular spot?
Busan City looked at things like how quickly they move in, how easily it would be for visitors to get there, and whether the buildings could fit all 850 ministry staff.
I see. And what about the budget? Do they have the budget? Is everything good to go?
They're planning to pull some emergency funds together and get started on design and renovation right away,
Okay.
so they can get everything up and running by the end of this year.
Yes.
Mayor Park Kyung-jun said he welcomes the ministry's quick decision and promised to fully support the move so everything goes smoothly.
So what about support plan for the workers, the employees that have to move here?
Busan is working on support plans similar to what they offered when other public agencies move here.
Okay.
And that could include tax breaks, school help for kids, and job support for spouses.
I see. So hopefully the transition will be smooth. So thank you for giving us a major update on that. Next, I have I hear you have some news regarding trains.
Yes, the new railway from Nopo in Busan to Yangsan and Ulsan's KTX station has officially passed the preliminary feasibility study.
Ooh, so that's the one connecting Busan, Yangsan, and Ulsan, correct?
Right. In the first regional train line approved outside the Seoul area. And now we are looking at a 1-hour travel zone between Busan, Ulsan, and Gyeongnam.
Nice. So walk us through the routes.
It runs 47.6 kilometers from Nopo in northern Busan through Yangsan and ends at Ulsan's KTX station. They will be using light rail trains like the ones you see on a bus, Busan Metro Line 4.
Okay. So how often are the trains going to run?
Trains will run every 20 to 40 minutes with about 35 trips a day. There will be 11 stops along the way, and the full ride should take about 45 minutes.
Okay, and what about the construction? When are they going to start that?
They're planning to start more detailed study later this year, and if it all goes well, construction could kick off in late 2028. Opening day isn't set just yet, but it's likely to be sometime after 2030.
2030, yes. And I hear that, I heard something about like Nopo being redeveloped as well. Is that correct?
That's right. Alongside the new railway, there's a whole redevelopment plan in the making for Nopo. The city is hoping to turn it into a major hub for the entire BUG region, Busan, Ulsan, Gyeongnam.
Yes. And what about updates on the Cheongwan line?
Nopo's gonna link up with Line 1 and Yangsan Line, and the Cheongwan Line they've been talking about. That one would eventually connect to the Donghae Line too. So this whole project might finally give the Cheongwan Line a bit of momentum.
All right. So that's the latest on all the trains and routes and whatnot. And now let's talk about a huge new road project along the southern coast.
Yes, a brand new 152 coastal highway is being planned from Yeosu in Jeollanam-do all the way to Busan, passing through Namhae, Dongyeong, and Geoje.
Wow, so that's like connecting, 5 major coastal cities. So what made this all possible?
The Ministry of Land, Transport and Infrastructure just approved extending National Road Number 5 by 43 kilometers from Dongyeong to Namhae Changseongmyeon, making this entire coastal highway a real possibility.
Yes.
When the road starting point is moved, it means the government will build new roads to match the change.
Right, so let's talk about this route, maybe city by city?
Sure, it goes from Yeosu through Namhae, Dongyeong, and Geoje, then finally hit Busan. The Geoje-Busan section is already connected by the Geoje Bridge and undersea tunnel. From Yeosu to Namhae, 5.8 kilometers undersea tunnel is already under construction. And the Dongyeong and Geoje section is still in the early review stage.
Sure.
And the middle part, Namhae to Dongyeong, that's the missing link. They plan to build 3 sea bridges to connect Namhae and Dongyeong.
Wow, 3 sea bridges, not just one. So we need more information on this one.
The plan includes the new Namhae Bridge, 4 kilometers, Saryang Bridge, 3 kilometers, and new Dongyeong Bridge, 7 kilometers, all to link the small islands with the mainland.
Yes.
They'll also connect Dongyeong's Donam-dong to Hansan-do, Chungbu-do, and eventually to Geoje's east side using bridges and existing roads.
Wow, so when it's all said and done, you could drive literally all along the coast through 5 cities, right?
Exactly. Once the full 152 kilometers highway is finished, the entire southern coast will be connected by road, even the islands. Mayor Park Kyung-jun said this will improve transportation for island residents and boost tourism along Korea's beautiful southern coast.
Yes. So we can look forward to that as well. And now let's talk about this. Busan is doing something new with AI and transport, correct?
Yeah. Yesterday at 11 a.m., Busan held a launch event for its very first self-driving bus right in front of Oshiria station on the Donghae line.
Yes. So tell us about the launch.
They showed a short video, shared how the project came together, and unveiled the bus, took a group photo, and let people take a test ride.
Yes.
Full service starts in September in the Oshiria area, but for now they are doing test drives.
So going back to this whole idea, these buses, they drive themselves, fully automated?
It's mostly automatic, but really not human just in case. They are level 3 autonomous, which means a test driver is still on board and can take control if the system asks for help. And the bus drives on regular roads with other cars.
Okay.
This month they're running tests. From September, anyone can hop on and try it out.
Oh, sounds really futuristic, but right now also. And I hear that our Busan mayor had some comments on this.
Mayor Park Kyung-jun said this is Busan's first step toward AI-based transportation, and it shows that smart mobility is becoming part of everyday life here.
I see. So, oh my goodness, we had so much information today on routes, extensions, trains. It was all about transportation, but we're going to call it a wrap for today. Thank you so much for not just today, the entire week. We'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Everybody, this was Sejin, and I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's now 7:18. Here's your traffic report. There's an accident on Gwanmun-daero going toward Mora at the end of Gaya Overpass. It's been cleared up, but there's still backup because of this. It's also congested on Dongso Overpass from Bumnekor Ramp to the old Gaegeum Toll Gate. We see some congestion also on Manduk intersection, from Manduk intersection to the Namhae Expressway, the Deokcheon Ramp. There's traffic on Chungjang-daero from pier number 5 going toward Busan Station. And it's also slow moving on Luno-Samsang-daero from Myeongji Underpass to Shinho Bridge. Currently, it is 24 degrees Celsius in Busan. We still have that heat wave special report, 폭염특보, and a heat wave impact report, 폭염 영향예보, over the city. The daytime high will go up to 30, so a tad bit cooler than yesterday. And yes, that wind, it's going to help a little more. Significantly hotter elsewhere in the country, with the daytime highs going up to as high as 36 degrees Celsius in some areas. So looking ahead to the weekend, we have both tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be sunny with lows of 22, highs of 31 for both days. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yay. So we're talking about foreign languages. Mm-hmm. So aside from English, which I assume that was your first foreign language?
Yeah. So I started learning English, well, like immersive when I was 10 and my family moved abroad. But I did the whole the 학습지, the workbooks, the red pens, the think large, the teacher, all that. And I remember the teacher program, they do morning calls and the teacher calls your home and it's a landline. And I don't like it. I don't really like it.
Why?
I don't know. It's like studying and, I was, again, going back to being a stupid kid. I was like 7 and I'm like, do I really have to? I was like, so I try to avoid it. Always try to schedule my bathroom breaks right when the call would come, and my mom was like not having it. So yes, kids to parents 할 때 되면 하는데.
What other language don't you speak?
Well, I understand and read Spanish really quite well. I speak it. Speaketh, I do not. Not really. But I started learning Spanish as a second language in high school. And in high school, so in like the 8th grade, 9th grade, and then I dabbled in Mandarin Chinese during, I think it was during COVID. I was like, gotta learn a skill. And then the whole 성조 with the tonal, I was like, I'm not hearing it. And I was doing it. And the teacher was like, you're not doing it. I'm like, yes, I am.
You just can't hear it.
Yeah, you got to try hard enough to listen for it. So
interesting.
Failures.
So linguistically gifted, Haley. We're going to jump into our first story. It is about Trump's tariffs, especially the 50% copper tariff.
Right. So actually we have a couple of Trump tariff stories and they all come to this 50% figure. So first, August 1st will be another starting date for a new set of tariffs on copper, 구리. So he posted this on Truth Social saying that Trump came to a decision after a national security assessment. So copper, according to President Trump, is necessary for a wide range of things like semiconductors, aircraft, ships, ammunition, data centers, on and on and on, missile, lithium-ion batteries, and whatnot. And he stated that copper is the second most used material by the Department of Defense. So this is why it goes back to the national security aspect of it. But the thing about the United States is that it imports nearly half of the copper it uses across various industries, mostly from Chile and Canada.
Okay.
But analysts say that, the thing about tariffs is it always falls on the consumers. And consumers, the cost of appliances like refrigerators, air conditioners, as well as electric vehicles will likely rise if that tariff does, in fact, go into place.
Yes. And as countries are trying to, respectively close their deals before August 1st, there has been some analysis that South Korea and Japan are some of the hardest hit countries out of the major U.S. trading partners.
Right. So they're not just looking at the tariff rate itself. So far, that sits at 25%, but in terms of overall trade. So an international credit assessment firm, Pitch, released a monitoring report assessing the actual tariff rate South Korea would see. For South Korea, this actual tariff rate, 실효관세율, came to 15%. So in terms of the top 15 countries by trade volume with the United States, the highest rate, of course, went to China at 41.4% total tariff rate, followed by Japan at 16.5%, then South Korea. So what this rate means is it's actually calculated by the total tariff amount that's collected divided by the total earnings a country makes from the trade.
I see.
So the reason that South Korea and Japan, they have high actual tariff rates is because their exports are heavy on automobiles, car parts, and steel, and they have higher sectoral item by item tariffs.
Yes.
So for the upcoming negotiations, it's a little bleak because Trump has been open to adjusting the reciprocal tariffs, 상호관세. However, past shows us that he has not budged on these sectoral 품목관세 tariffs.
Yes. And we're going to stay on tariffs for our next story as well. There is this bit of trade war brewing between the U.S. and Brazil, like I just mentioned. Let's get the backdrop to this. What's going on?
Right. So the major players are, of course, U.S. President Donald Trump and Brazilian President Lula da Silva. However, the figure at the center of it is the former president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro. So according to the letter that President Trump posted on Truth Social, he threatened to impose these duties on Brazilian goods because he accuses Brazil of conducting a witch hunt against the former President Bolsonaro. So why he is currently standing trial over his attempt to overturn the election defeat.
Yes.
So famously, he's been called Brazil's Trump or Trump of the tropics. And kind of similarly to the January 6th insurrection case, he has been charged with attempting a coup to overthrow the election results, which resulted in a riot on January 8th for Brazil back in 2023.
Right.
So this does really seem like the actual reason because previously, Trump has only imposed a 10% minimal tariff on Brazil because the U.S. actually does have a trade surplus, meaning it actually sells more to Brazil than it buys.
And some experts are saying that these tariffs could backfire, correct?
Right, because for one, in terms of the businesses that will be affected should the 50% tariffs go into place, we're talking about industries like coffee, meat, textiles, plastics, and footwear. And business leaders there are actually supporters of Bolsonaro. So their profits may take a hit. And then in terms of that ongoing trial, the coup attempt trial, well, no judge wants to have his or her case be called a witch hunt.
True.
So in terms of that, is Trump doing Bolsonaro any favors? And then also politically, this could actually charge Lula's popularity, which has been waning, but fuel his re-election campaign, just like it did for Mark Carney in Canada. Kind of that patriotic kick.
Yes,
right.
yes. All right, we're going to move on. It's an economic story. The Bank of Korea has decided to freeze its benchmark interest rate, but the reasoning is really interesting.
Right. The reason that it didn't dock it down, so the benchmark interest rate now stands at 2.5% as it did. So the key is to get a hold on housing prices. So it goes back to real estate.
Okay.
Because for the past few months, we've seen that phenomenon of 영끌, right? People drawing from all resources to buy homes, maxing out their loans, especially for apartments in Seoul, which leads to higher home prices in Seoul and surrounding Gyeonggi area.
Yes.
According to the Korea Real Estate Board, Seoul's apartment prices went up by 0.43% in the fourth week of June, and that's the highest increase in the past 6 years. And because the BOK, the Bank of Korea, they lowered the rates in May, lowering the rates again this time around could have sent the wrong signal to prospective buyers that, hey, take out more loans. It's okay. So the immediate concern is household loans, 가계부채, 가계대출, and that's been on a significant rise. So experts say that excessive expectations, too high of expectations for lowered rates can only serve to increase household loans. People thinking, well, the rates are going to go down. I can afford to borrow more. So the government also has been taking these huge steps to curb mortgages, really putting a stern cap on it. That, of course, goes in line with with that general policy direction.
Yes.
However, though, experts say, given that the relatively weak demand, 내수, right, and also recovery of the economy has not been rapid, and also uncertainties with the U.S. tariffs. Once they get the housing prices sort of under control or stabilize, experts are saying that the BOK would lower the rates again.
Okay, so that's the reasoning, housing. Well, let's move on to some heat-related stories, but on those who don't get the representation they direly need, right?
Right. So, the thing is, the heat, of course, it affects everybody, but not equally. It affects the most vulnerable populations the hardest.
Yes.
And one of which is migrant workers. And this case is very disturbing the more you find out about it.
Yes.
There was a case back on Monday of this week when a 23-year-old Vietnamese national, a Vietnamese worker at a construction site, was found dead. He was just sitting in front of the bathroom, I believe. He was just sitting in place and he was dead in the heat wave. The daytime high, and this site was in Kumi, which is one of the hottest areas in the country because the daytime high was 37 degrees Celsius. The victim's body temperature was 40.2 degrees at the time he was found. So, and the reason I refer to him as the victim is the following. According to the National Construction Workers Union during a press conference earlier, this construction site, which is an apartment site, had implemented shorter working hours for the heat wave. However, migrant workers were working regular hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's discrepancy, discrimination.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Right. So why was there? So why are they implementing different rules? Well, the site apparently had an agreement with a contractor to work from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. when there's a heat wave.
Okay.
Reasonable. So on the day of that incident, all South Korean workers had gone home at 1 p.m.
Yes.
But apparently there was a team comprised only of foreign nationals that was, here's that word, subcontracted. 하청업체, and they worked the regular hours until 4 p.m. And we again and again say while high noon, the sun is at its highest.
Yes.
Temperatures are the hottest often until well into 5 p.m. So the union said that the decision was actually up to the team leader. So it seems to have made that decision. So the union called for a full investigation into whether the workers had breaks as it is recommended and access to break rooms. And pointed out that migrant workers are sent into dangerous situations because some employers unfortunately exploit things like their legal status and language barriers. So Daegu Office of Labor and Employment had suspended operations on this particular apartment site, and they're looking into whether they did abide or did not abide by the necessary laws.
Yes.
The police will conduct an autopsy.
Right. And speaking of like the heat wave, and I did talk about this in the opening, but I hear that you have details, the cost to livestock, which has really been escalating.
Right. So as you said, I'm just going to say this very quickly. On Tuesday alone, as you said, 160,000 farm animals died, and the vast majority poultry, again, 가금류, and about 2,000 pigs. So that figure is really alarming, and it goes to show how costly in terms of lives this heat wave has been for this year. Right. Because between May 20th and July 8th, a total of 379,000 animals have died. That's 7.6 times higher than the same period last year. Not 7.6%, 7.6 times.
That gives you a snapshot of what's going on with the heat wave. So thank you for giving us the details on that. Well, we do want to end it on a lighter note. Many of us gulp down at least 1 cup of coffee per day. But even coffee, not all coffee is created equal.
It is not. And I'm talking about not just the taste, but the carbon footprint, the environmental impact. 커피의 환경적 영향.
Oh no.
And I know, and I'm so guilty. So because small changes make a big difference when it comes to the environment. So like bringing your own mug, your traveling mug, and the straw, which I'm doing. But what's inside that tumbler, just as important.
Okay.
And apparently, depending on what you're drinking, the carbon footprint differs by up to 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, and this is according to Herald Economy research by 2PM Lab, which is a climate tech firm.
Yes.
They surveyed 10 different drinks that are commonly sold at cafes. We're talking your Americanos, latte, vanilla latte, green tea, peach iced tea, watermelon juice, mango juice, lemon and grapefruit aids, and different types of smoothies.
Okay.
So how do they measure this? The production and growing of the ingredients plus the manufacturing process. How much carbon or greenhouse gases are emitted.
Okay.
The worst for the... Can you take a guess? What's like the worst for the environment?
I was thinking it must be something fruity.
Right, that's what I thought too. Also, wafers, what is your go-to cafe drink? It's not.
It's not anything
They're
fruity?
lattes. Would you like a mic?
We heard an audible gasp.
Which was actually my reaction because lattes are my go-to drink. I know.
Oh, seriously? Lattes?
I love me a little milk. Which apparently horrible. So iced vanilla latte had a carbon footprint of 440 grams. That's carbon emission. Second place was your old regular iced latte at 426 grams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Feeling a little guilty.
Me too.
Had one yesterday. So why do lattes leave the biggest carbon footprint?
I'm having one right now, actually. Because not only espresso, but also milk.
Yes.
Coffee beans require what's called land clearing, 농지 개간, so you just need to kind of pave all the trees down. And fertilizer, of course, because they're grown in warmer areas, they need to be transported. Carbon footprint. But Ice Americano was right in the middle at 236 grams of carbon emissions. So what's the culprit? Milk. Cows. Those cows. Because they, well, excuse my language, they burp and fart. And their burp and fart, 방귀 and 트름, it has methane, which is worse for the environment than carbon, 25 times more emissions. Of course, the feed and the water needed to raise the cows. That, of course, requires a lot of emissions.
Okay.
So, yeah, all the worst for the environment. Beverages had milk, mango smoothie. And then there was a clear divide versus dairy versus non-dairy drinks because watermelon juice, lemonade, grapefruit aid, all were in the 100-gram range when it came to carbon emissions. Peach iced tea was the best choice for Earth at 79 grams.
Oh, I will enjoy myself. Get me a peach iced tea.
I'm not making any promises, but I will always bring a tumbler. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so sad.
But I was shocked at the latte.
I
that
know.
Was that's what we're gonna leave the listeners with.
I want to go now.
Well, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. So you'll be back.
Yep. See you in a bit.
All right, we're ready for our first song on this Friday morning. This is 슬퍼지려 하기 전에 by Cool. Enjoy. I'll be back in a moment.
Now check out the wicked inspiration vibe and the jungle style. I'm getting wicked and mad. Understand me, man. Get down with the bong bong thing. Get down with the bong bong thing.
It's time for Foreign Press Highlights. We have Casey in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Oh, I was checking out your eyes. They look greenish today. Because of your...
No accident? Reflection?
I know, for real. Like when you're wearing a blue shirt, your eyes look so like icy blue.
Oh, chameleon.
Yes.
Chameleon eyes. Which actually, chameleon eyes are not very attractive. I've seen chameleon eyes. That's too bad.
Yes.
Like bulge out. And
I was going to say, I don't know if you're self-dissing yourself, but...
I think I just did. That's too bad.
So, our text topic today, have you ever learned a foreign language? If so, what was it? When? How? We need all the details.
Oh, yeah. Well, suddenly I feel so smart. I've learned Spanish. I learned that in school because it was required.
How good is it?
Terrible.
Habla español?
Terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible. There you go. There you go. Yes.
So
yeah, not so good.
Just un poquito.
Yes.
Just a little.
Yeah,
Right.
that didn't take so well. But then I learned, I was in the Peace Corps for 2 years, and I learned Romanian, and then I learned Russian while I was there. Much more success with those languages.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I actually had to use them.
Oh,
it turns out
to survive.
Yeah, it turns out when you have to use a language, you learn it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you're multilingual.
I hope
You're a polyglot.
I hope so. Yeah. Wow, I feel so smart. My eyes are glowing green with envy of myself. Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't feel that way. But yeah, I can speak a couple languages.
Our producer says, when you're dating or in love, then, if you're dating somebody, who speaks a different language. That's why, like, everybody always says, they ask, like, oh, how do I, speak better English? And I was just like, date someone that speaks English. Or just spend a lot of time with a friend that's a native speaker.
Yeah, sure.
AKA date someone.
Yeah. Again, you have to use it. And
Yes.
that's a good motivation. If you're really interested in somebody and you want to try to impress.
Communicate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we got to get serious. So we're going to talk about some news about Korea from the perspective of foreign outlets. So what do you have for us today?
All right. First, I'm going to go with an article from The Guardian because it explains something to me that I was completely unaware of. Have you ever heard of the peak wage system?
I've heard of it.
Okay,
it's my job
had
to
not.
know. But
Okay.
no, but definitely. And what about the peak wage system?
Okay, so this system is explained in detail, not just in The Guardian this week. Actually, this story was kind of reported in a couple of places, and there's a reason I'll get to that for in a moment. But so the headline is "Punishing Workers for Getting Old: How South Korea's Wage System Impoverishes the Elderly," and that sounds bad.
It sounds bad.
Like right off the outset, that sounds bad. So basically, they talk about a couple of people and their situations. They talk about one insurance worker who started working at his particular company at the age of 23. And he spent more than 3 decades working there, eventually became the branch director. Now he's going to be 60 this year. And they explain how his company basically has been taking away his salary since the age of 56. And this is part of the peak wage system.
Yes.
So basically, when he turned 56, they cut his wages by 20%. And then every year after that, another 10% cut. And so by the time he's going to be forced to retire next year at the age of 60, he's only going to earn 52% of what he made just 5 years ago, despite having to work the same number of hours and the same workload. And I was like, could I deal with that? If I knew that was coming.
That's kind of sad when you think about it, because even the word peak, so it's like a peak, like there's an apex. So at that point, you're earning the most, and then from there on out, it's just a decline.
Like, why would you? I mean, I understand, and not everybody is in the position to say yes or no.
Right.
But why would anybody want to continue working this?
Right. That's the whole point, is it not?
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
Well,
So yes, actually some of his colleagues, though, he did say in the article, he said some of his colleagues were like, no, I'm just going to take early retirement. I'm going to stop working because I don't want to take a wage cut.
And many people, they choose that. They get their pension, and then, and they might start a business. But that's also really risky.
And also there's another issue with that. Like the pension age, I believe, is 65. So like there's a gap where you're perhaps making nothing unless you turn to another job suddenly.
Yes.
So yeah, he did say these wage cuts are not justified. He said this is age-based discrimination, and he's not alone in feeling so.
Yes, yes.
So I mentioned earlier, like this was reported in a couple of places. The reason is this previous Wednesday, there was a report published by the Human Rights Watch. And in this report, they interviewed 34 workers here in South Korea aged 42 to 72. And what they said in this report is basically the employment policies used here in South Korea are pushing older workers into lower paid and, as they say, more precarious work.
Well, I also want to know this. Does every company do this to, aging workers?
Actually, companies can choose whether to do this or not.
Okay.
And they can choose to set a mandatory retirement age of 60 or older.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be 60.
Sure.
And basically, what this peak wage policy means is if they have this mandatory retirement age, the employers can then reduce their older workers' wages during the 3 to 5 year period before the mandatory retirement, which is also optional, it sounds like.
Yes.
It could be 3, could be 5. But according to the labor ministry here in South Korea, 95% of firms that have more than 300 employees do set a retirement age. They usually choose the age of 60. And therefore, this is affecting 3.1 million workers. They do say like smaller companies are less likely to do this because they're already probably facing labor shortages. So it's like they'll be pushing people out kind of.
So what was the design behind this original thinking behind the peak wage system? I mean, I'm sure it wasn't to be mean to older people.
No, you can't imagine that going through any kind of law assembly.
Exactly.
Right?
So what was the intent?
I guess they say in the article the idea was to use the savings that companies would have by cutting the pay from older workers to hire younger employees, and the idea is that it would boost productivity. But they mention in the Human Rights Watch report that these ideas between losing productivity with workers as they age there's no basis for that, according to studies done here in South Korea. And they say in the report that instead these policies, instead of helping contribute to productivity, they're contributing to the highest elderly poverty rates among developed nations. That's not what you want.
No. So in a nutshell, this policy, according to this article, maybe a little backfiring going on?
Yeah. The author of the report is named Bridget Sleep. She said these measures, basically, they were designed to protect workers, but instead end up doing the opposite because they deny older workers the opportunity to continue working in their main jobs, things they have experience in.
Yes.
They pay them less, and then they basically end up pushing them into lower paid and precarious work, as they say.
Yes.
All just because of their age. So this is something that should stop, according to the Human Rights Watch report and others as well here in the country.
Well, thank you for covering this very important story. But I do want to get to our next story. So what's it about?
It's about dragons.
Dragons?
Kind of.
용?
Kind of.
진짜?
Kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
Dragons are
oh.
I know, kind of. That's the headline got me too.
Because I was like, they aren't real. Right?
Well,
Okay.
It's interesting. For a mythical creature, so many cultures have references to them and pictures of them throughout So I was like, is it possible we have dragons in Korea? It turns out, according to the headline from Discover Wildlife, which is part of the BBC service,
yes,
blind dragon-like creatures have been found crawling through South Korean caves.
What?
Yes. So is that
This is for real?
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
But they're tiny. They're tiny.
Okay, now I was just like, are you sure, Casey?
Right.
Are you sober this morning? Real?
I'm pretty sure.
Dragon-like creatures crawling around in Korea? Okay.
Yeah, for real. And they were found by Kyung Hoon Jung, who's a researcher at Jeonbuk National University, and his team. And they found 4 new species, 4 previously undiscovered species of, wait for it, dragon pseudoscorpion. Or if you prefer no, I'm not going to do it. It's Pseudotyrannochythonidae.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you. So I'm assuming, like me, you've never heard of these, right?
No.
Okay, dragons we're familiar with, scorpions even, but a dragon pseudoscorpion.
Do they look like dragons?
Kind of. Okay, here's where we get the kind of. So these are actually small arthropods, which if you're not familiar, that means the family including insects, spiders, a lot of those tasty crustaceans you might eat.
Yum. Mm-hmm. No, the crustaceans.
Crustacean part.
Yeah,
spiders.
Not the spiders and insects. Yes.
I don't think I can.
Okay.
But like I said, they're really small. They're usually only around 1 to 3 millimeters long, so they're tiny.
They're tiny.
Yeah. And there are pictures of them in the article. You can see they look kind of like shrimp, like those. You know what I mean? Like kind of, or those like crayfish.
Oh, the crayfish. Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
But for their size, they have relatively gigantic jaws that resemble the jaws of dragons, especially that you might see in Korean artwork. You know what I mean? Like they've got like the protruding jaw, and it's very strong, powerful. Those things are known as chelicerae, but those dragon-like mouth parts are basically used to capture prey. Sounds cute, right?
So that's where like the resemblance to dragons comes in. Even though, what did you say, 1 to 3 millimeters long, so we can barely see them, right?
Yeah, I mean, like they'd be really hard to spot in a dark cave. So good job, guys, working in the caves there.
And any other dragon-like features?
Yeah, the fact that they live in caves. But that's kind of where it stops because they are all completely blind, actually. They have no eyesight whatsoever. They don't need to see because they're in caves, so there's no light where they live.
I see.
And they also have no pigmentation because they're in the dark all the time.
They're really pale?
Yeah, so they're very pale. So they have no evolutionary pressure, as they say, to have any kind of sun protection. So there's no pigmentation or camouflage at all.
Oh my gosh, they would so not survive in the outside world.
Right, which is a good point.
Pale. Yes.
Which is a good point. So the big point in this article is we need to protect these caves.
Oh, really?
Did you know there are thousands of caves in Korea?
I've been to some of them, but I didn't know there were thousands of caves.
I had no idea either. And they say a lot of them are unexplored, and who knows what is lurking in them.
I see.
That's the scary part.
Very interesting. So you can check out this article, plus all the photos, and now I'm going to go look them up on the internet as soon as you get
Look kind of tasty, to be honest. I think I could eat them.
1 to 3 millimeters, would you taste anything?
I don't know.
I thought you said we need to protect them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Take that back. Yes, protect them and all the unexplored
dragon
caves.
Killer slayer, you.
I hear dragon. I just want to hurt it. Yeah.
All right, we're going to call it a wrap for today's segment. But thank you so much for 2 really interesting stories. And have a wonderful weekend. We'll check in with you next week.
See you next Friday.
All right. It's time to wrap up hour number 1, but not before we tell you about our special interview that's coming up in hour number 2. We're going to talk about that. The topic today for a special interview. So it is all about like dealing with bad news. Because there's so much bad news. And sometimes I'm the bearer of the bad news and I feel really bad. But how do we cope with all that? And the death, the doom scrolling, right? So let's get to our final song for hour number 1. Oh, you did not, PD님. I love this song. Perfect for today. Ice, Ice, Baby. I want to say by Vanilla Latte, but it's Vanilla Ice. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, crush a speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope melody. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gain weight. You better hit bullseye, the kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Jumping with the bass kicked in and the Vegas are pumping. Quick to the point, no faking. Cooking MCs like a pound of bacon. Burning them, if you ain't quick and nimble. I go crazy when I hear a cymbal and a hi-hat with a souped up tempo. I'm on a roll, it's time to go solo. Rollin', hit my 5.0, put my rag top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi. Did you stop? No, I just drove by, kept on pursuing to the next stop. I bust a left and I'm heading to the next block. The block was dead, yo, so I continue to A1A. Beachfront Avenue. Girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis. Rock men lovers, driving Lamborghinis. Jealous, cause I'm out getting mine. Shade with the gauge and vanilla with the 9. Ready for the chumps on the wall. The chumps acting ill because they're full of 8-ball. Gunshots ranged out like a bell. I grabbed my 9, all I heard was shells falling on the concrete real fast. Jumped in my car, slammed on the gas. Bumper to bumper, the avenue's packed. I'm trying to get away before the jack is jacked. Police on the scene, you know what I mean? They pass me up, can run it all, the dope fiends. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice. I'm a lyrical poet. Miami's on the scene, just in case you didn't know it. My town that created all the bass sound. Enough to shake and kick holes in the ground, cause my style's like a chemical spill. Feasible rhymes you can vision and feel. Conducted in form, this is a hell of a concept. We make it hype, and you want us to print this. Shape plays on a fade, slice like a ninja, cut like a razor blade so fast. Other DJs say, damn, if a rhyme was a drug, I'd sell it by the gram. Keep my composure when it's time to get loose. Magnetized by the mic while I kick my juice. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while DJ revolves it. Ice, ice.
지원 플랫폼 부산경제진흥원이 함께합니다.
It's time for the Water Activities Safety Quiz Show with me, Mike.
And me, Jessie.
Now here is the question. On safely enjoying water activities, listen carefully and guess the right answer.
Okay.
From the following water safety measures, guess which one is correct. Number 1, always warm up before swimming or going in the water. Number 2, enter the water slowly and wear a life jacket. Number 3, never go beyond the designated swimming area. Number 4, call 119 or a lifeguard on duty if you witness drowning.
뭐지? 1번도 맞고 2번도 맞는 것 같은데.
Time is running out.
The answer is all of the above.
That is correct. All of these options are important in order to safely enjoy water activities.
If you keep them in mind, you're bound to have a great and safe summer.
Stay with BEFM this summer for a responsible beach season.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is the second hour of Morning Wave in Busan. This is Spotlight News. Next year's minimum wage set at 10,321 per hour. The minimum wage for 2026 has been determined at 10,321 per hour, a 2.9% increase from this year. The minimum wage panel reached an agreement last night after 12 sessions, marking the agreement reached among the labor, management, and public interest representatives in 17 years. If someone receives minimum wage, works a standard full-time job, 209 hours per month, the monthly wages come to 2,156,881. The minimum wage will be formally announced by August 5th. Special counsel summons ex-President Yoon for questioning. The special counsel led by Cho Eun-seok has summoned former President Yoon Suk-yeol today at 2 p.m. for his first questioning since he was put under detention. Yoon has been in custody at Seoul Detention Center after the court issued his arrest warrant on 5 charges, including obstruction of justice and abuse of power. The former president did not appear in court for his ongoing insurrection trial yesterday, citing health reasons. The special counsel argued that this was unjustified, urging the court to consider apprehending the defendant. The defense counsel questioned whether summoning the defendant just 8 hours after he was put under detention was lawful. Special counsel of Marine's death conducts first raid. The special counsel led by Lee Myung-hyun investigating the death of Marine Corporal Che conducted its first raid yesterday into the home of the former defense minister, the Defense Ministry, and the National Security Council office. The council is focusing on allegations that former President Yoon Suk-yeol expressed outrage at the Marine Corps investigation team's conclusion to discipline a commander and allegedly ordered for the team to change the results. The special counsel reportedly seized documents on the investigation team's findings, the presidential office directives, and the military's subsequent action. President Lee Jae-myung orders for inspection of cooling centers. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday ordered for a prompt inspection of cooling centers nationwide during a meeting of senior aides, as well as unscheduled inspections of high-risk industrial sites. The directive comes as a number of heat-related illness patients has been increasing at the fastest rate since record-taking began in 2011. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency reported 1,357 such patients as of Wednesday, including 9 deaths. In the meantime, the government is looking into mandating a 20-minute break every 2 hours during heat waves, with a review of the relevant bills scheduled for this morning. Trump threatens 50% tariff on Brazil. Lula hits back. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Brazil with a 50% tariff starting August 1st, alleging Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of a witch hunt against former President Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is facing trial for trying to overthrow election results. He and Trump are known to have had a close relationship during Bolsonaro's term in office. Lula hit back at Trump's plans, saying that South America's biggest country will also impose a 50% tariff against the United States if Trump goes through with the tariffs, setting the stage for a possible trade war. This was Spotlight News. It's time for Wagga Wagga. Haley's back in the studio with us.
I have Ice Ice Baby stuck in my head. It's a near
that
one.
song?
And Casey and I had a little dance party, just so everyone knows.
That must have been fun.
Yeah. Ice Ice. Okay.
Can Casey dance?
Like I can dance. He dances as I do, which we move. Limbs are moving.
There's some rhythm.
There's music and then limbs are moving and we're excited.
Yes. Well, speaking of fun, Many people are flocking to Jeju for their summer vacation, but the Consumer Protection Agency has sent out a rare alert.
Right. So according to the Korea Consumer Protection Agency, 소비자 보호원, the number of damages or losses reported about travel-related issues across Jeju spiked from 400 about 3 years ago in 2022 to over 600 last year.
Oh.
So let's look at point-by-point issues because it applies anywhere, but because Jeju is an island, there are added issues of flights and rental cars.
Yes.
So of all the cases across 3 years, flights, airline-related issues were by far the most prominent at about 740, followed by accommodations and rental cars.
Oh.
So the highest concentration of cases came in August, which is coming up, followed by September and October.
We need to get into the specific issues.
Right. So the top issue was flight cancellation penalty. This is when you, the consumer, cancel your flight. 항공권 취소 위약금, followed by flight delays or flight cancellations on the airline's end. So what you should know is that some online travel agencies, because some people go directly to the airline website, like Catherine Air, let's say, for example, to book their tickets. But then other people will go through like HaleyTour.com to, that sounds like such a scam. Oh no.
It sounds good. I would take a
does
tour.
Does it? All right, well, so this is a bad example, but some people will go through HaleyTour.com to book the tickets. Let's say the consumer, 예지 PD, wants to cancel the tickets. Catherine Airline might have their own cancellation policy, but HaleyTour.com also does. And I'm going to charge her an arm and a leg because I can. And I said so in the fine print that shouldn't read.
Okay.
That's what happens to a lot of people. So if you cancel your flight too close to the actual flight date, you might have to pay the airline fees plus the online reservation site flight cancellation penalty. So double penalties.
Okay.
Always check the fine print. In fine print, that's like the 작은 글씨, 위약금 규정 꼭 읽어보세요. Similar issues with accommodations, always check the fine print. And because Jeju it's an island on the southern coast, it is very vulnerable to adverse weather conditions. It's where all the hurricanes or all the, typhoons come through. So that leads to frequent flight cancellations and delays. But some travel agencies and middleman agencies, they will reject refunds because apparently it's too late. Yeah, so again, read the fine print.
Okay.
So that, couple thousand won, tens of thousand won discount might not be worth it. If you are going during, again, September and October, that is prime typhoon season.
Okay. And also beware of like
HaleyTour.com.
Yes. All right, the next story is about a restaurant that was caught by the Food and Drug Safety Ministry for cooking with an unorthodox ingredient. How unorthodox are we talking about?
Ants.
개미 ants?
개미 ants, which are not permitted, by the way, for what you consume is as a free person, that's your deal. But the government actually has a list of permitted ingredients. So a restaurant owner is facing criminal prosecution because they allegedly violated the Food Sanitation Act for cooking and selling food made with ants. Ants were actually sprinkled on top.
Oh.
Yeah. The ministry saw this restaurant and the particular dish on social media with ants on top. But again, ants are not authorized for food sales.
Okay.
So investigation revealed that this particular owner shipped in dried ants from the United States and Thailand between April 2021 and November of last year. So he or she apparently sprinkled 3 to 5 ants on top of a particular dish as, like a garnish. And apparently the intent was to add acidity to the flavor of the dish. Do what you will. I prefer lemon, but do what you will, except you can't because they are not authorized for consumption.
Yes.
He or she did so for 3 years and 9 months and sold 120 million won worth of this particular dish. 1억 2천만 원. I'm so shook right now.
But I'm assuming that this chef, like the restaurant owner, it was probably advertised and people ate it, like thinking, "Ooh, it's like some
it's
like
so exotic,
exotic dish with ants." Are there actually insects that are approved for consumption?
There are. So in South Korea, 10 types of insects, including grasshoppers, 메뚜기, and mealworms, mealworm, are approved. And you can actually check out the entire list on the Food and Drug Safety Administration or Ministry website. And they said anyone can check the ingredients authorized, so please do, because it's for everyone's safety.
Yes, yeah, interesting.
Would you ever? Have you
I?
ever? I mean, I do, because, some people, if you were raised in like the country, went to your grandparents, people like ate fried grasshoppers. 메뚜기 튀겨 저도 먹었거든요.
맛있었어요?
굳이 그닥. 고기가 더 맛있죠, 뭐.
We're just leaving it. Okay. Up next, U.S. President Donald Trump is facing some pushback for what he thought was a compliment to the president of Liberia.
You speak good English.
Oh, that's an offense to me.
You're American?
That's like telling a Korean person, 한국말 너무 잘해요. That's like the same thing.
It's odd. Like in Korea, that's odd. But then with English, here's the thing. It's the official language in many countries that are not what you might think the English-speaking countries, the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand. So it's loaded. Let's just start there. All right. So the story, President Donald Trump hosted leaders from 5 African nations at the White House. This was Wednesday local time. And during the roundtable discussion, complimented Liberian President Joseph Boakai on his English. The quote was, quote, "Such good English. It's beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully?" Yeah, so the Liberian president informed Trump he was educated in Liberia, where English is the official language.
That's why I was kind of like
oof.
Because,
So several Liberians and others expressed offense at this comment, that it's really not a compliment, and questioned President Trump's perception of African countries or the African people. There was also a whole comment about the bleep hole countries way back when in Trump era 1. So a diplomat speaking to CNN who said he or she does not want to be named, said they felt the comment was not appropriate. It was a bit condescending to an African president who's from an English-speaking nation.
Okay.
Well, the White House defended this, saying that the comment was a heartfelt compliment, but on the official diplomatic front, because it is diplomacy, the Liberian foreign minister said there was no offense, that many people do not understand the linguistic borders or linguistic demography of the African continent.
Right. And by the way, I'm not trying to defend Trump, because I wouldn't, but I'm just saying it was more of he didn't know.
Right.
Than like he was trying to diss the Liberian president. I'm thinking. However, the U.S. and Liberia, maybe he should have known, because they have a very interesting historical relationship.
And I think that's the thing, because he is the head of state of the United States of America. And this is perhaps why there's an added kind of insult to injury, because Liberia was founded as a colony of the United States. 식민지. So before the U.S. abolished slavery, there was a movement by mainly the American Colonization Society. And this was a very prominent movement because some of the members included James Monroe, and Andrew Jackson, the guy on the $20 bill.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've touched.
While. Former U.S. president.
Yeah, former U.S. president. He's on a banknote. So prominent individuals. Someone fact check me, please. What they did was they secured land in West Africa to ship free Black Americans there. And this colony later became the nation of Liberia, which is like liberty. That's where the name comes from, in 1847. And by the way, there was opposition from the native population that lived there and didn't randomly want
to be colonized.
Exactly. So the American colony became independent, recognized a couple decades later, but it is still one of the most impoverished nations in the world. And some experts do point to the continued conflict between the native population and the migrant population. And there were civil wars there as well.
Yes, William confirms it's the $20 bill. Andrew Jackson. It's been a while for both of us. So, all right. Thank you for covering that story, though. For a final story, we need a happy story. It is, right? Because we're going to end it on this teenager helping out an elderly woman.
Right. So, middle school kids, 중학생.
Sorry. 너무 솔직하게 나왔나요?
I know.
It's not 중2병 anymore. It's just like, I think.
Dude, my sister's
just throughout
craze started in like 6th grade.
And it continues for a few years.
Years. Anyway, sorry. I like you now. But middle school kids obviously get a bad rep. But this 14-year-old from Gyeonggi may change your mind. So there's a video on social media that's gone viral from a store owner who filmed this interaction. They say there's an elderly woman who has like her own little farmer's market. She will, you may see them on the street. She will sit on the street corner and sell produce that she apparently farms on her own. The store owner says she usually buys some, but she just didn't have any cash on her that day. So this store owner was watching, but a middle school boy was walking by, came up, and apparently gave her money. And he or she noticed it. So this video went viral. The boy was actually interviewed by the press. He said that he ran into her on his way home, and she suggested, do you want to take a look? But what do 14-year-old boys know about vegetables or anything? He said he didn't have any change, so he ran out and broke his 50,000 won bill, gave her 30,000 won. And so all he had, his 전재산, his entire fortune was $50. He gave her 30, roughly.
Oh, wow.
And then he just wanted to go home because, again, he doesn't know anything about vegetables, but she gave him a bag of beans. So when he was interviewed, he stated it was just really hot that day. And all he could think was how he wished that she could just be done and go home and rest. So he just wanted to help her. Right. So a lot of people complimented him, and apparently the family's been getting a lot of offers, just compliments, but even scholarship offers. The father, he said, the family got so much attention for something that he calls was not a big deal. And also the kid always tries to help somebody in need. The family said they won't be taking the money because that would mar the spirit of the action.
Bravo.
Like father, like son.
I mean, we know why this 14-year-old kid is such a good kid. Because he had good parenting.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to end it on that happy note because we don't want it to mar our weekend.
Yes.
But we'll definitely check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great weekend.
All right, everybody. It's now time for your updated traffic and weather. It's now 8:17. Here's your update on traffic. There is an accident there was an accident on Seongnam-ro from Chwacheon overpass to pier number 5, right before the pier. So apparently they're still trying to deal with that. So please be aware of that area. It's backed up on Gwanmun-daero from Sujang Tunnel to pier number 5. Also congested from Chungnyeol-daero from Daesung to Dongnae intersection in both directions. There is traffic on Daedong-Hwamyeong from Hwamyeongdong to Anmak intersection. It's also slow going on the Dongso overpass from Hakjeom ramp to the old Gaegeum toll gate. It's gone up to 25 degrees Celsius here in Busan with a heat wave special report. 폭염특보 and a heat wave impact report, 폭염 영향예보 in some parts of the city. It's going to go up to 30 degrees. The wind might make it feel a little bit cooler than yesterday, definitely. Significantly hotter elsewhere in the country, with a daytime high expected to go up to 36 degrees Celsius. Looking ahead to the weekend, tomorrow and on Sunday, similar temperatures, lows of 22, highs of 31 degrees Celsius. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for your special interview. Listeners, wavers out there, whether you're watching the news on TV or listening to us here on Morning Wave in Busan, whether you're on your smartphones, we are constantly flooded with troubling stories, accidents, disasters, conflicts, and more. If you have ever avoided the news because it just feels so emotionally overwhelming, well, you're not alone. The good news is there are healthier ways to stay informed without compromising your mental well-being. So joining us today is Dr. Joanne Broder, media psychologist and author and fellow of the American Psychological Association. Hi, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much, Catherine. Good morning.
Yes. So first of all, how does repeatedly consuming negative news affect our brains and our emotions?
Well, first, I have to say the good and the bad news is that I feel like we're all in this together because there's so much going on out there. It's like there's enough going around for everybody.
Yes.
No matter what your perspective or hot spot issues, it's something. So this is a great topic to talk about. When you're emotionally charged, like mostly negative ones, first let's talk about what's going on briefly in your brain. Kind of your limbic system, which is like the untrained, unevolved part of your brain, kind of hijacks your prefrontal cortex, that's the part of your brain which is used for cognitive functioning, decision making, organization. So that part of your brain is overshadowed, so we're not making decisions as well. We have a weaker immune system. We're showing signs of anxiety, which can be, both, mental and physical, unable to focus. And then you're training your body to have a negative reaction to other responses, other stimuli.
Yes, and so that takes us to our next question, because when we do consume news that might be negative or detrimental, why do we as human beings continue to watch or even scroll on our smartphones, even though we know it's making us feel pretty bad or, feeling worse, but we kind of continue to do the doom scroll?
Well, first let's think of it in real, like in a, face-to-face situation. It's like a train wreck. You know what I mean? We kind of, we don't want to look at it, but we can't help it.
Yes.
So, we get sucked in, especially if it's a hot topic, if it's an issue that's really important to you or something that really resonates with you. Mm-hmm. It's scary. Maybe you're looking for solutions. Maybe like, is this true? You're looking for the light. Then we get stuck, we get relaxed, we get unmotivated, and then time goes by, and before you know it, it's like, oh my goodness, I've been doing this for hours now.
Yes.
So look at the people around us, kind of like, what are they doing?
And that takes us to the whole doom scrolling. I mean, why is it so hard to stop it? Because I'm guilty of it, not on a daily basis, but sometimes you're like there and you're like thinking, oh my gosh, what time is it? Like, how long have I been doing this? And it just goes on and on. Are we not capable of kind of like not doing this?
We are capable. We are capable. And what we'll talk about that. But it's really just a matter of being mindful. Not getting sucked in and, having boundaries with our screen time and when we consume.
Yes. And so can constantly reading about disasters or conflicts lead to things like, for example, burnout or even emotional numbness? Because sometimes the news is just so bad and we're inundated by it, depending on, the news cycle. Can that lead to burnout or emotional, numbness?
Oh, absolutely. Think about a sunny day and then the clouds start rolling in. So it blocks your perspective. It blocks, your sunshine, your light. And it's like that doom, that gloom, that cloudiness.
Yes.
So, your perspective's cloudy.
Yes, indeed.
And people get, people sink in a hole and it's hard to come out.
So how do we know that maybe we're consuming too much of the bad news where it's really negatively impacting our mental health? What are some of the warning signs?
We're in a bad mood we just can't shake. We're snapping at people. One thing about any other mismanaged behavior that it's overruling your life. You're not, instead of working, or it's taking over your family time or creeping up into your leisure time. So it's just a matter of balance, having balance in our lives.
Yes. And so speaking of that balance, Dr. Broder, for people who want to obviously stay engaged with the world, they want to be on top of, the big news, but also at the same time, we want to remain, sane, like peace of mind. How do we balance that?
it's one thing. It's about boundaries. It's really about boundaries because, again, there's so much going on and so much of it is so relatable. And we're trained as humans to be compassionate and empathetic. And then you read this stuff, you read about something, let's say, a fire at a school on the other side of the world. And, it's you're going to react to it. It's just as a human nature. So really it's about like putting boundaries around your time, setting a timer. Think about, why am I doing this? Am I trying to stay informed? Maybe you just unplug.
Right.
Be mindful about what you can control and what you can't control.
Yes. And nowadays, because so many people are getting their news through devices, especially phones, people, I think, are aware that there are algorithms and that, if you click on a particular story, a similar type of story might pop up on your feed. But nonetheless, it's kind of like we're kind of like, bugs drawn to light. We continue to kind of be, we gravitate towards those kind of sensational, list kind of stories. Is that, do you think, kind of a part of human nature that we're kind of drawn to, as you say, like the train wrecks and things like that?
Oh yeah. There's those head-turning headlines. But then also it's, think about basic media literacy skills, like considering the source. Consider their perspective, not just source like, the news source or just the website. Because, sometimes when we are reading, content on our phone, unlike, a station like yours, you have fact checkers.
Yes.
So not all of, the sources that are publishing information have like these fact checkers. The same level of accountability. So it's like, I tell people it's like being a smart consumer of research. It's like we walk into the market and we have all these selections. We have all this food, but, like learning how to read our labels and learning what we're buying, just being a smart consumer of what we're taking in and what we're reading.
Yes.
And again, why am I doing this? What's my intention? Am I learning? Okay, I'm informed, close it up. Put it away. Let me do something else.
Right. And so in the long run, how can we be better consumers of news to be better, more resilient in dealing with whether, it's like, bad news, but and the really terrible news, the devastation out there, so how can we deal with this?
I think think about what you can control and what you can't control. Because I think people just get so upset over what they can't control.
Yes.
Right. But think about what you can control in your world, in your belief system, in your community. If there's something going on in the government, or how can your community be proactive, or how can your community support each other or support the cause in a healthy way.
Right.
And also stay off the internet. Don't awfulize. Don't get into fights and debates with people. Because again, people they want to try to sensationalize, and they want to try to, when people are in that low space and that doom scrolling and they're anxious and they're angry and they're depressed.
Yes.
Don't get sucked into their world.
So if you have any parting words for our listeners today, Dr. Broder, in terms of how we can once again find a real good balance, because sometimes, you got to read the bad news. It's out there, and we try our best on our program to kind of balance it. We have the stories, and then we try to end it try to find a positive story. Our writer always does, to end it on a higher note. So any last words?
I think when you're also, again, it's realizing what you can control, because you hear that terrible story. It's nothing, you might not be able to control anything.
Yes.
But you can control yourself. And it's like, oh my God, that's so terrible. Take a couple deep breaths, put your phone down, do something you love, take a walk, be in nature.
Yes.
Embark upon something that makes you happy. Take care of yourself. In the moment.
Right. Well, I certainly think that this is going to be really helpful for everybody there consuming news. And of course, there's good news and there's bad news, but nonetheless, we have to learn to cope with it. Thanks for coming on air with us. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Once again, this was Dr. Joanne Broder on how to cope with bad news. And like I said earlier, our program, the nature of Morning Wave in Busan, it's a news show, right? And we bring all the hottest news, the hottest topics to you. But I certainly hope that we're doing our utmost to make sure we try to balance the news as well for all of you. So anyhow, this was our special interview. Let's take a song break. This is Happy Things by J Rabbit.
둥근 해가 뜨면 제일 먼저 기분 좋은 상상을 하지 하나 둘 셋 자리에 일어나 하마처럼 입을 쫙 하품을 한번 하고 또 눈을 크게 뜨고 번쩍 기지개를 한번 쭉 펴고 즐거운 상상을 맘껏 즐겨 잊지 말고 happy happy things 상쾌한 바람이 부는 아침에 한껏 여유 부릴 때 유난히 안색이 좋아 멀리 봐도 다 잘 어울리고 다 예뻐 보일 때 좋아하는 노래 들으며 걸어갈 때 시간 맞춰 버스를 탈 때 유난히 사람이 많은 출근길 딱 내 앞에서 자리 났을 때 예상대로 일이 술술 풀려갈 때 이제부터 모든 내 멋대로 맘 먹을 때 아주 맛있는 걸 먹었을 때 세상에 나 힘도 안 줬는데 쾌변 보너스 휴가 떠날 때 사랑하는 그대도 함께 모두 상상만 해도 정말 기분 좋아 잊지 말고 happy happy things 오랜만에 친구들을 만났을 때 괜히 기분이 좋아서 혼자 막 춤출 때 아주 머리가 잘 돌아갈 때 말도 안 돼 공부 안 했는데 100점 누군가 보고 싶을 때 그대가 내 맘 알아줄 때 모두 상상만 해도 정말 기분 좋은 happy happy things 누구나 할 수 있는 일 행복한 삶을 원한다면 모두 상상만 해도 정말 기분 좋아 잊지 말고 happy happy things
Wow. So I don't know. That song just put me in a real happy, upbeat mood. So that was a great choice from our producer. Today's text topic is all about learning other languages, foreign languages. Like, how did you begin? At what age? How did you learn? Looking at some of your messages, your responses, Benny, who says, he's, by the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Benny, he lives in the Philippines. He's Filipino. He says, I guess Korean, quote, as a, parentheses, as a foreigner, and my own language, Filipino. And maybe the reason being how to dictate, and then I think his message got cut off. But anyhow, I always think of Benny as he is our K-pop guru almost. He knows so many different groups and artists and the history behind the teams and even who they are, every single member. So he is very much, I feel, fluent in the Korean culture, not just the language itself as well. We also have William. I love this message. He writes, and William's in San Francisco, I learned some limited Cantonese in order to converse with my wife Pam's maternal grandmother. This is love. It's not just for Pam. Pam speaks English. For her maternal grandmother, I was never very good at it, but she appreciated the effort. And he later wrote that the reason why he did this is that he wanted to, he even went to ask for her permission, the maternal grandmother, to marry Pam because he's so old-fashioned. And I thought that was super sweet. That he went to all, the lengths to, make sure that Pam's grandmother felt comfortable with him asking for her hand in marriage. So I know some of you might say, oh, that's so like old-fashioned. I don't know. I love that idea. Leslie says, I took French for 4 years in high school and 4 semesters in college. I still do Rosetta Tol. I can't give the brand name. And Duolingo to keep up with it. I am now learning Korean the last couple of years. I see your Insta thing feed, how you put up your poster, Duolingo achievements, and I always put a little heart to give you encouragement. So for those of you who are still actively learning another language, kudos to you, because I don't know where you guys find the time or energy, but seriously, I look up to you. All right, I'll be back with An 교수님 in just a moment. It is time for Global Affairs, and we have Professor Andrew Millard in the studio. An 교수님's here. Good morning.
Good morning.
You so disappoint us.
I know. I disappoint myself.
No dog.
No dog
animals.
ties today.
Today, so boring.
It is boring.
No.
Honestly, from last night, I was like, I don't have a dog tie for this week. They're all in my office.
What happened? Oh, they're in your office.
They're in my office.
That's why.
I forgot to bring them.
It's okay. We forgive you this week.
Yeah, don't worry. Next week, they'll be back.
Mong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mong.
So I want to ask you about our text topic, foreign language or languages. Right. Do you speak other languages aside from obviously English? Korean, you speak. How would you gauge your Korean language skills on a scale of 1 to 10?
It depends on sort of everyday conversation.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good, right?
I'd say maybe 8, 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
I have no problems going anywhere, doing anything, speaking Korean, generally. When it comes to sort of academic Korean,
it's difficult.
So if I'm teaching a class or giving a presentation, I can do it in Korean, but the level then it does drop down.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've been in now 20 years and Korean, I think I'll never fully get.
What about other language? You were saying like off air, you majored in German?
Right. So in fact, studying Korean was like not meant to happen. So my major was German, but then basically the first semester did not have enough credits. So they were like, just take any random course.
Okay.
And I thought, Korean sounds interesting.
No way.
So I took Korean. And then from there...
It was destiny.
It was fate.
Wow.
And so I changed my major from German to modern languages, so German and Korean.
Wow.
But now I've been here so long that I can't speak any German anymore.
You speak. So if you had to...
And now my English is getting worse as well.
No, I feel you. Sometimes I'm searching for the word. I'm like, what was that word?
Yeah. I was in Seoul on Tuesday. For a big presentation in English, this one. But I was halfway through and suddenly I couldn't remember the English word.
Too.
And I was just stood there staring, saying, I can't remember the words.
So I do that on air a couple times and like Leslie, bless your soul, Leslie, she like sometimes auto corrects or auto fills the words.
Right.
I have like a brain fart and then I'm like, what was that word? I know the words I do. It's just like sometimes it doesn't come quickly.
Right. You just can't think of them. Yeah.
Okay. I feel okay now. I'm not the only one. We're going to jump into global affairs. What are we talking about today?
So this week, I tried to keep these topics as positive as much as possible.
Yes.
But to be honest, this week, every day I've turned on the news, it's always been some sort of doom and gloom and death and destruction. So I know you've talked a little bit about this already this week.
Yes.
But it seems that these days, every time I turn on the news or the app, whatever, there's some sort of weather-related disaster.
Definitely.
So like there's been in America those devastating flash floods.
Yes.
A lot of forest fires in different countries. Heat waves right here in Korea, in Busan especially.
Yes.
But also in Europe, seemingly across the whole of Europe.
Right.
So it seems like climate change, whether it is climate change, I don't want to sort of be controversial because I know some people don't agree with that. But definitely weather seems to be getting a little bit more unpredictable, a little bit more extreme.
People will definitely agree with the whole extreme weather. Whether you don't believe in the whole climate change issue, that's your issue. But, right. But definitely the weather-related things that are happening, the events, the weather events, that's real. Scientists agree that is real. So
I mean, just I think this week in Europe. So in terms of the heat wave, I was looking at some figures. Portugal reached 46.6 degrees, which is crazy. France, Germany also have been in the 40s, which I think is even hotter than here in Busan, which is crazy. England also has had the hottest June on record.
How hot? Okay,
prepare
ready?
Yourself.
Okay, prepare.
16.9.
Wait, what?
So I did have to laugh a little bit about that. You see these 46, 40s, 40, and then 16.9 for England. But still.
That's so mild.
So even though it is mild,
yeah,
it's still the warmest record.
For England.
For England, for June. So this is, again, just showing us that the weather is changing.
Yes.
Things are happening. And so, again, I don't want to be over-serious, but this has a lot of implications
of course.
For other areas.
Yes.
And so there were some articles about how this is going to affect GDP, how all of these things change. So I thought we'd maybe just look at a little bit at that.
Sure.
And how other things that are affected. It's not just turning on the aircon and being uncomfortable. And
that's true. That's true. So what are some of the effects?
Well, the main one, I think, well, not the main one, but I think the most significant is the loss of life.
Oh, of course.
I think in those flash floods in America, the first one is it Texas?
Texas.
I think it's now close to 200.
I mean,
including those who are still missing.
Missing, right? Unaccounted for. And of course, any death is tragic. But when we talk about girls who went camping. And
I think the last I heard was 39 children.
Right. I mean, that's so devastating.
Right. So I have kids myself. And imagine sending them off to a happy camp and then suddenly.
Flash floods, right.
Just devastating. But also in the heat waves in Europe.
Yes.
Again, I was looking at one of the news reports yesterday. In total, across Europe, close to 1,000 deaths already this summer, just through the heat. So, I mean, obviously, the loss of life, that's really the most significant.
Number one, yes.
But, of course, it also affects the economy in various different ways as well. So in terms of the floods, if we look at those, I think there was one scene that's gone viral of I think it was the New Mexico floods of that house. Literally a whole entire house just floating down the river.
Right.
So, of course, this is sort of symbolic of the general infrastructural damage that these mass floods and other disasters as well cause. So you then have rebuilding roads, rebuilding transportation systems, communication systems, which then also affects just general trade as well, general business.
Yes.
If there's no logistics network, then you can't trade, you can't do business.
I mean, everything's going to be at a standstill while you're rebuilding, literally.
And yes, you also then have to rebuild your warehouses, your factories, your homes and everything as well. So everything is put on hold. It costs money for this rebuilding.
Of course.
So the economic impact is huge.
Right. So that's, a look at floods.
But then also in terms of the heat waves, like we said, in Europe, 1,000 deaths almost. But if that's deaths, how many people are being affected?
Oh, so many more.
Which means that the whole healthcare system has a huge burden on it.
That's right.
So I know in Korea here, we're getting constant alerts on our phones. To be honest, a little annoying sometimes. There's too many.
There's so many.
But it's also quite a good thing to sort of say, keep out of the heat, drink lots of water, stay in the shade. If it's going to help one
person even, right?
Exactly.
A reminder, hydrate, stay in the shade.
Right.
So, those alerts, as you say, there's a lot of them. We're inundated by them at the same time, doing, what it's supposed to do.
We do need them. Yes. But again, for those people who, especially in Europe, especially in England, where we do get this very, again, I can't think of the word now, unusual heat, a lot of people just can't handle it. So they do end up going to hospital. But again, that puts burden on the healthcare system. But again, they're also not working as well. So again, everything is coming back to affecting the economy and output and things like that.
Yes.
Of course, reduced physical labor, reduced activities.
Yes.
You can't do everything. So I know for me, this summer in Busan, I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more active.
Yes.
But
it's just
can't
do it.
or you do a little bit and then, I'll take a rest now.
But that's the smart thing to do. Because if you overdo it, then you might unfortunately, become dehydrated.
Right.
Symptoms of any heat distress, and then you might end up at the hospital.
Exactly.
Which we would be adding to that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then of course, increased use of air conditioning. Okay, I know everyone's turning it on.
But that itself, I know, is a vicious cycle because, my youngest, she's such a, let's not turn on the AC as, as much as, she resists. But, lately she's like, let's turn it on a little.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you get it,
it's like...
it's hard to go back.
To, not having the AC on.
So actually, in our house... we do have air conditioning, but it broke a few years ago. And it's quite expensive to get it fixed.
Right.
So we didn't get it fixed.
Oh, no.
And actually, we're coping okay.
Without an AC?
Without it. Because we know that once we do get it fixed, it's going to be on 24/7 for 2 months throughout the whole summer.
Wow. So how are you making do? Is it too personal or
a
is
lot
that
of
okay?
fans?
A lot of fans. A lot of showers.
A lot of showers, a lot of fans.
You're making do.
And trying to be still.
Less mobile, just sitting still. Yes, whatever we can to not move, right?
So we're talking about in the home.
Yes.
But again, if you're in a business and you're having a huge factory or a huge warehouse, whatever, then you need to have the aircon on so that people can work safely. But again, this is driving up costs. So those costs will then get passed on to the consumer. Basically, we lead to inflation.
Yeah, and we had a story, was it yesterday or the day before, about a certain school. They turned off the AC because of the budgetary reasons.
I know.
And the parents started complaining and saying hey, don't risk the kids' health because you're cut corners elsewhere, not with AC usage.
Oh, but it's the same at universities as well,
right?
So not just my university, but I know others are the same. They control
our school as well.
when you can turn it on and when you can't have it on.
And they have it at a certain setting.
Yes.
And I can't for the sake.
I think at our university, I think it's 25 or 26.
Are you serious? Really?
But it's quite cool.
It's okay. Okay.
There's definitely a big difference when you go outside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd prefer to have it a bit cooler.
Yes. All right. So we talked about floods and heat waves. What about other events?
So of course, forest fires. So this one again has been in Korea, a very big issue. I think not right now, but recently. So especially in Gyeongnam, Busan, that sort of area. This has direct resource loss.
Right.
So you're burning down a lot of resources. But again, it's affecting transportation.
Yes.
Again, affecting buildings, anything connected with that. But also, so there was one example, one of our European Chamber members, they're in the wind turbine business. So we have offshore, which is in the sea, but we also have those on land.
Yes.
So on tops of the mountains. And they have a lot of wind turbines in the areas affected by the forest fires. So again, you get businesses which are negatively affected.
I see.
Because, these wind turbines, they're very expensive.
Right.
So when these stop working, when you have to repair them, fix them, again, just the costs go up.
Yes. So that was our main topic, but I hear you have a lighter story.
So yes. That was a little bit serious, quite deep, I know.
We want to end it on a happy note.
That's right.
Yes.
So right now is Wimbledon.
Oh, yes.
So hopefully everyone knows what that is. That's the tennis tournament in England.
On grass.
Quite elite. A bit snobby, to be honest. So I'm from North England, the working class part. So it's a bit different. But Wimbledon, very famous for champagne and also for eating strawberries and cream.
Ooh, yum.
So usually you just get the strawberries in a little box.
Yes.
And you pour the cream on top. But this year, one of the big supermarket brands in the UK,
yes,
very famous one, has introduced a strawberry and cream sandwich. Like one of the fruit sandwiches you get in Japan. And apparently, so obviously I've been here, but apparently this is now a huge trend, like a huge craze sweeping across the UK. These sandwiches just sell out immediately.
Like now?
Exactly, like right now because it's Wimbledon. So this is like a special limited edition sandwich. So it's strawberries, cream in a sandwich.
Oh, that sounds so yummy.
So maybe if you guys are hungry over the weekend,
yes,
get some strawberries and cream.
All right. Well, thank you so much for going over a very interesting issue for global affairs and that lighter story with the strawberry and cream sandwiches.
And next week I will have a dog tie.
All right. You promise. We forgive you this time. Thank you so much, An 교수님.
Okay, see you next week.
Everybody, this was Professor Andrew Millard. And before I let you go for not just today, the entire week, actually, we have a PSA from the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. So as the heat wave continues, the risk of water-related accidents is increasing when enjoying water activities at beaches, coastal areas, rivers, valleys, and other locations. Please make sure to follow basic safety precautions. Always wear a life jacket. Children must be accompanied by a guardian. Do not swim under the influence of alcohol. Evacuate immediately in case of heavy rain. And if an accident occurs, alert those around you and call 119 right away. Also, schools and households are advised to educate students or children in advance on how to stay safe during water activities. So wishing you nothing but the best today. And it's Friday, so here's hoping we can all do 칼퇴근. That's what I wish for all of you today. This is 집에 가자 by Stella Jung. That's where we're headed, so have a good one. Bye, everybody.
우리 집에 가자 맛있는 과자 양손에 맥주도 사자 아끼지 말자 다 들고서 집으로 가자 하루 종일 열심히